Hi, my name is Michael E. And today we're going to go into the simplicity of being born from above. From above. Okay. In the Bible, we read in the YLT and the only Bible I'm using is the YLT. I don't use the King James. I use the YLT for reading. And the YLT gets translations better than the King James. And entire religions were started based on John 3:3. And John 3:3, as it's read in we're going to read it first in the King James, and then we're going to read it with a more accurate. Okay, so it says, Verily, verily, Jesus answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Okay. The problem is, it's not born again. It is born from above. That is the proper translation. The context even speaks about that. Now, why did they put born again instead of born from above? Because the translators did not understand who Jesus was and is. Jesus is from above. Everybody on earth is from below. When Jesus came to earth, he paid the price so that those that are from above will know who they are. That is what the resurrection is about. For the ELOHEEM of God, which is the family name of God, who was in the foundation, before the foundations of the earth, was with God, and that is who Jesus is. He's the first begotten son. He's the first begotten son. Jesus is the truth, the light, and the way to God. Yahweh, I am. Now, for my other videos, I am is identity and state of being together. The truth, the light, the way. Jesus is from above. I'm going to jump to John 8, where it's where Jesus was talking to the Jews, and what does he say? John 8:23, and he said to them, Ye are from beneath, I am from above. Ye are of this world, I am not of this world. I said therefore to you that ye shall die in your sins, for if ye may not believe that I am, ye shall die in your sins. They said therefore to him, Thou, who art thou? And Jesus said to them, Even what I speak of to you at the beginning, many things I have speak concerning you, and to judge you. Okay. Jesus is setting us the precedent that he is from above. Now, we're going to go back to John 3, because John 3 is like where it's spelled out. John 3:1. And there was a man of the Pharisees. Okay, so this is a Pharisee now, of the Pharisees. Nicodemus, his name. I didn't look up what the name Nicodemus means. If you look it up, it's probably going to be interesting. But a ruler of the Jews. This one came unto him by night and said to him, Rabbi, we have known. Now remember in the Bible, we talk about one of the last words Jesus had said. It says that forgive them for they have not known. Well, here it says that they did know. The Jews do not get the forgiveness. Rabbi, we have known that from God thou hast come. So the rabbis all knew. This is in 3 now. This is not at the end when he was crucified. So they all knew that he is from God. The ones that crucified Jesus knew he was from God. That thou hast come a teacher, for no one these signs is able to do that thou dost, if God may be with him. Jesus answered and said to him, Verily, verily. Okay, so pay attention when Jesus is saying, Verily, verily. I say to thee, if anyone may not be born from above, he is not able to see the reign of God, the control of God. They can't see the kingdom. They can't see nothing unless they're born from above. In this 6 minutes, everyone that says that they're born again just got wiped out. They're done. Because that's not what it says. The Bible says born from above. Check the original Greek. You'll see it's above. The translators didn't understand what above means, just like Nicodemus doesn't understand, which we're going to find out. Jesus answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, if any man may not be born from above, he is not able to see the reign of God. Nicodemus saith unto him, How is a man able to be born, being old? He is able into the womb of his mother a second time to enter and be born. Jesus answered, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, if any man may not be born of water and the Spirit, he is not able to enter into the reign of God. That which hath been born of the flesh is flesh. So it's not talking about being born again of the flesh. It's talking about being born of the Spirit. And that which has been born of the Spirit is the Spirit. Thou mayest not wonder that I said to thee, it behoveth you to be born from above. The Spirit where he willeth doth blow. Now, again, the context wouldn't allow it to be born again, because the Spirit is something that can blow, that is moving. And his voice thou dost hear, but hast not known whence he cometh, and whither he goeth. Thus is everyone who hath been born of the Spirit. Nicodemus answered and said, How are these things able to happen? Jesus answered and said to him, Thou art the teacher of Israel, and these things thou dost not know. When he's talking to Nicodemus, he is talking to every rabbi ever born that said that they're a Jew. They does not know. A lot of people try and confine what Jesus said to 2,000 years ago to a bunch of little villagers or something and think that that's really who God is talking about. No. God is the God of the living. God is the God of now. If you look up the word now in the Bible, everything makes more sense because it's always now. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, what we have known we speak, and what we have seen we testify, and our testimony ye do not receive. If the earthly things I said to you, and ye do not believe, how, if I shall say to you the heavenly things, will ye believe? So we're definitely not talking about being born again in the flesh. We're talking about born from above. Heavenly things. And no one hath, okay, here goes. And no one hath gone up to the heaven except he who out of heaven came down. Nobody goes up. You have to come down, because those that are of God are the ones that have already been in heaven, and being already been in heaven are coming back for their earthly sojourn. The Son, heaven, except for he who out of heaven came down. The Son of Man who is in the heaven. And as Moses did lift up the serpent in the wilderness, so it behooveth the Son of Man to be lifted up. Remember, the world crucified, not the world, the Jews crucified Jesus. Jesus is the light, the truth, and the way. By crucifying the light, the truth, and the way, they're trying to extinguish the light. Jesus is from the heavens. If you look up, you see lights. And from his Father of lights. We are our commandment. We have we have one commandment. Love the Lord thy God with all thy might. That is the truth, the light, and the way. All the other commandments that you're talking about are for men. If we're from the light, then we're from above. The people that try and keep the commandments are doing the works of the law. What did Jesus say to the Jews? He goes, I speak that which I see, light, with my Father, and ye do that which you've learned from your father. Jesus is I see and speak. The Jews are ye do. We'll go and find that. So that everyone who is believing in him may not perish, but may have life age during. For God did so love the world that his Son, the only begotten, he gave, that everyone who is believing in him may not perish. The Son of God from the heavens. To believe what the Son of God said about the heavens. The Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, thy will be done on earth, in heaven as it is on earth. The will of God, the light coming to earth. Those that are of God are of the light. We don't have the same commandments that the rest of that Moses was telling. We don't. We fulfill the commandments, but we don't have the same commandments. We only have two. Love the Lord thy God, which is the light, the truth, and the way, and love thy brother. How do you love your brother? You tell him the light, the truth, and the way. Don't enable. Don't do narcissism. Don't tell lies. That's the light. Okay. But may have life age during, for God did not send his Son to the world that he may judge the world, but that the world may be saved through him. He who is believing in him is not judged. Remember in John 8, Jesus is from above. He didn't judge the woman, the adulterous woman. The Jews brought the woman there that committed adultery, and he didn't judge her. He didn't throw the stone. They couldn't throw stones at her because they had darkness inside of them. They had lies inside of them. He who is believing in him is not judged, but he who is not believing hath been judged already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. Okay, now we're going to go a few other places, and we're going to see how this ties together. So, who went and saw the transfiguration? Peter and John. James, John, and Peter. So, what does James have to say about above? Okay. Every good giving and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variation or shadow of turning. When you look up at the sun, it's always there. Somewhere on earth, the sun is always shining. That is the light. That's why Jesus uses the words the sun, the light. Why is S-U-N and S-O-N in the English language homonyms? It's not by accident. Having counseled, he did beget us with a word of truth. Look at that. The word of truth, for our being a certain first fruit of his creatures. So then, my brethren beloved, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger, for the wrath of a man, the righteousness of God doth not work. Let's go to a few other places. So again, from above. Are you from above or are you from below? Let's go to John. Thou mayest not wonder. Okay, John. Oh, we didn't go here. Okay, John. We should have went a little further down. John 3:31. He who is from above is above all. He who is from the earth from the earth he is, and from the earth he is speaketh. He who from the heaven is coming is above all. And what ye hath seen and heard, this he doth testify. And this testimony none receiveth. He who is receiving his testimony did seal that God is true. For he whom God sent, the sayings of God he speaketh, for not by measure doth God give the Spirit. The Father doth love the Son, and all things hath given into his hand. He who is believing in the Son hath life, age during, and he who is not believing the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God doth remain upon him. You see, we are always in the now. This is where we're supposed to be. This is now. In the now, we're standing on the ground. So what are we standing on the ground? Why? We're standing on the ground because we are in our now on the ground. When someone lies, they're either trying to ascend up to the heavens, or they're trying to hide under the ground. They're either trying to ascend to the heavens or under the ground. When they're trying to ascend, they think they're the I am. And when they're going underground, they're covertly trying to control from not being seen. This is where enabling happens. And this is where narcissism and psychopathy. The ones that want you to keep the law by your will do not see the light of God. Because if you're will worshiping, if you're trying to use your will to keep the law, that means that your will gets the glory. And that person says that they chose God. If you, God uses, or Jesus speaks, God says the light. You got to think about what light does. Up there, are there laws of man in the light? We are to bear witness to the light. So who came down from heaven? Who came down from heaven? The ELOHEEM. The ELOHEEM is God the family. So who's going to see the light? Who is going to be born from above? God the family. Who's going to fulfill the law? God the family. 2 laws, 2 commandments. Love the Lord thy God, truth, light, and way, and love thy brother as thyself. Great. Truth, light, and way. Means you tell the truth, you're the light, or bear witness of the light, and you bear witness of the way. We are not the light. We are the light, as in God in me and me in God. We become God in light, truth, and the way. The whole world wants you to do something. They can't see what's going on. They can't see. When you don't have light and truth, then you'll believe the lie. You don't have the way to God. And when you believe the lie, then you are again further separating yourself from the truth and the light. The more that people engage in enabling, or they engage in psychopathy and narcissism, the further away from God they become. When Jesus was crucified, and he said, "It is finished," something really interesting happened. The veil of the temple was torn. And what was behind the veil in the holiest of holies on the Temple Mount. You know what was there? Nothing. Nothing was there. There was no Ark of the Covenant. There was no There was no bread. There was no manna. Aaron's rod. Nothing. No Ten Commandments inside the Ark of the Covenant. Nothing was there. So what Jesus did on the cross is he exposed the fraud that was Judaism at the time and until today. Because they don't have the Ark of the Covenant. They don't have the cloud. The glory cloud wasn't there. Nothing was there. It is finished. The only thing that now, the same from the beginning, is the light. What did Cain do? He killed Abel, the seed of the woman, the son of God. Cain killed Abel. By killing Abel, he tried to extinguish the truth, the light, and the way, because that's where the seed was. It was in Abel. But Cain didn't know about Seth. Seth came after. In fact, Seth's son is Enos. And Enos was the beginning of the preaching of the name of Yahweh. The seed brought forth the son who started to preach in the name of Yahweh. So, if you identify with God, then you're going to identify with light, truth, and the way. The name Jesus, or Yahweh, means salvation of Yahweh. The first truth is you can't choose God. You just can't choose God. You're either of the light or you're of the darkness. And Jesus said, "Ye are from below, I am from above." We are to bear witness to the light. If this changes everything, but it's always been there. And how do we know this too? If you just go to, let's go to John 1. Go to John. Remember, John was also on the Transfiguration, and in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, truth, and the Word was God. This one was in the beginning with God. All things through him did happen, and without him happened not even one thing that hath happened. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. Light of men. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And the light in the darkness did shine, and the darkness did not perceive it. There came a man having been sent from God, whose name is John. This one came for a testimony, that he might testify about the light, that all might believe through him. That one was the light. That one was not the light. John was not the light, but that he might testify about the light. He was the true light, which doth enlighten every man coming to the world. In the world he was, and the world through him was made, and the world did not know him. To his own things he came. To his own. Who did Jesus come to? Jesus came for the ELOHEEM, his own things. He came. And his own people did not receive him, but as many as did receive him, to them he gave authority to become sons of God, to those believing in his name, who not of blood, nor of will of flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God were begotten. You can't get there with your will. You can't be saying that you chose God. It's like, how can the darnel choose to be the wheat? Either you were planted by God as the wheat, or you were planted by the devil as the darnel. And the darnel will look to conceal the light everywhere it goes. And that you can parallel with lies and by using your will to keep the law. You can't keep the law with your will. I know this might be something that you've been brought up a certain way, but then how do you get around this verse? Who? Not of blood, nor of a will of the flesh. That means that there's no way that your will of your flesh can bring you to God. It's not going to happen. It says it right here. Nor the will of man, but of God were begotten. And the Word became flesh, and did tabernacle among us, and we beheld his glory, glory of the only begotten of a Father, full of grace and truth. John doth testify concerning him, and he cried, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who after me is coming hath come before me, for he was before me, and out of his fullness did we all receive, and grace over against grace. For the law through Moses was given. So the law came through Moses. Grace and truth through Jesus Christ did come. God no one hath ever seen, the only begotten Son, who is the bosom of the Father. He did declare, and this is the testimony of John, when the Jews sent out of Jerusalem priests and Levites. The bottom line is, there's no such thing as being born again. Go look up the verse in John 3:3. Look at the original Greek and Hebrew. I'll leave a link to Blue Letter Bible. You can look at it there. You have to be born from above. And in above, we're talking about light and truth. The only thing that we're supposed to do is love the Lord thy God with all thy might. What do we love? The light, the truth, and the way. And that's the embodiment of Jesus. The light, the truth, and the way. Let me go to John 8. If I go to John 8, let's go to John 8. Because in John 8, it's pretty clear. Okay, ye are from beneath, I am from above. You know that. Okay, John 8:12. Again, therefore Jesus spake to them, saying, I am the light of the world. He who is following me shall not walk in the darkness, but he shall have the light of the life. The tree of life that was in the Garden of Eden. Jesus brings us to the light, to the tree. The Pharisees therefore said to him, Thou of thyself dost testify, thy testimony is not true. Jesus answered, and he said to them, And if I testify of myself, now remember, if Jesus the light testifies of himself, my testimony is true, because I have known whence I came, and whither I go. Jesus came from above. They're from beneath. They're never going to go up. You got to come from above. We are the Elohim. This is for the Elohim of God. We are of the light. We have to bear witness to the light. In the Garden of Eden, who do you think is telling Adam and Eve what they did wrong? It's the Elohim. That includes all the elect before the foundations of the earth. We are about to get into the Garden of Eden, or we are already. It's about to be revealed. You got the serpent, you got the serpent, the man, the woman, and God Elohim.